In this video series, we're looking at AI in use in the enterprise, and I'm suggesting that we manage AI like an asset, and that's not just for the cost and risk of AI, it's also to unlock the innovation. Now, in the last video, we spoke about 3 types of AI in use in the enterprise and what was more popular and so on. In this video, I want to cover the barriers that are stopping people exploring AI in the first place in the enterprise. And now there's 4 main barriers, and these are in ascending order. So the lowest barrier was what we call organisational readiness. So people need to be ready to implement this stuff in the organisation. You need to have the data ready. You need to have the people and the people's minds ready. You need to win over the hearts and minds of people before doing this. And there's fears about using AI. What's going to happen to jobs? How's this thing going to? How does this stuff work? And it's classic enterprise IT. It's people, it's process, it's technology. Arguably, with AI, the technology is almost the easy bit. It's winning over the people and finding the right data and so forth. That's the more difficult bit. So that's the first barrier. The second barrier is lack of expertise. Just because you have a brainwave about a great AI project doesn't mean that you can necessarily find the people to help you. So there's a usual IT resource constraints there about finding the right people, especially at an enterprise level, for selecting the right technology, for deploying it, for integrating it with the rest of the enterprise and so forth. So that's the second one. The third barrier to people using AI in the enterprise is a lack of defined budget. And this is classic. In the previous video, we spoke about the fact that this looks like classic AI, classic enterprise sprawl. And this is very typical of new technology. It's experimental. Some organizations are seeing the future of AI, and they're piling millions into this stuff without any clear idea of how they're going to make money or what the return is. They just see it as strategic. And this is very typical of new technology. So there's lack of defined budget. This stuff is experimental, and we can help define that through managing it like an asset. The fourth and final barrier to people experimenting with AI and using it in the enterprise, and this is the largest barrier, is lack of trust. And there's a number of components to this. First of all, you have quality. So you have some AI systems that are hallucinating and not or you hear about these clangers in the industry of people asking for things using a corporate chatbot and getting disastrous results. So there's lack of trust there, especially when you're exposing it to your customer base. There's security concerns. It's just like any other technology stack or system. It's got its InfoSec concerns, but I think these are accelerated given the power of what AI can do if it's unleashed, and what it could do to your brand and your intellectual property. There's also privacy concerns. So you have similar concerns around AI as you would with things like public cloud or SaaS, in that, where's my data stored? What's the sovereignty of the data? But there's further concerns around privacy in terms of, the example I used before was we might be scanning contracts or HR documents using AI. Great, but what happens to that document when I'm using it? Is it going to feed your algorithm? Is it going to feed your IP? What's going to happen with it? So there's lots of skepticism around all of that. And the point of raising these barriers is that if we put a governance model around this, we can manage AI like an asset, we can manage the cost, we can manage the risk, and we can unlock some of these barriers, give people guardrails, and help them experiment with this stuff faster. In the next video, we'll look at the risks specific to the enterprise. What does AI look like in terms of a risk in the enterprise, and what's the team we need to address that risk?